It's not a lack of love, but a lack of friendship that makes unhappy marriages. Nietzsche. Fear of commitment. I think we need to delete this saying. Hesitation is not weakness, and doubt is not cowardice. People who wait aren't self-destructive or broken. Is caution the opposite of love, or simply doing love's homework? Isn't it wise to take your time and gather data rather than taking the leap completely blind? There's nothing romantic about spending your life in quiet desperation, to quote the poet Henry David Thoreau. There's nothing honorable in divorce proceedings, and there's no magic in settling. How much time and research should you put in before sleeping with someone? One night? Moving in with someone? A couple years? Committing to marry someone for the rest of your days? Is 10 plus years so unreasonable? It sounds like a lot, I know. But is it really? Taking 10 years to decide who you want to spend for the next 50. You might have heard something like this before, vis-a-vis the perpetual bachelor. Too picky, confused, don't know what they want, selfish. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. They just have a fear of commitment. They're afraid. And if they weren't afraid, they'd be happily married. Now, I think that's quite the leap. Very recently, I thought I was following the good path. Beautiful, loving, caring girlfriend. Brand new puppy dog. Chill work from my little home by the sea. I had committed. I was in love. And I was depressed. Funny how you can be in love and feel depressed all at the same time. Actually, not that funny, is it? And one by one, I gave up, lost, or walked away from all of those things. My fear of commitment only started once I already had committed, so maybe a little more pre-fear of commitment would have served me well. The Where Should We Begin podcast with Esther Perel talked about a couple navigating what it means to stay together, even when the future they imagine together is no longer possible. Now that's a story that brings me fear. Thinking about what we owe each other in relationships once we've committed and said yes to each other's friends and families. Asking that person to commit to us is one beautiful, amazing yes. The hard part is then saying yes back to each other every single day for the rest of your lives. Psychologist Erik Erikson said you can't achieve intimacy until you've achieved identity, which means if you don't know who you are, you probably shouldn't be promising forever to anyone else. I remember thinking very clearly in a recent moment of epiphany that I don't know what I want out of life. I felt like I could do anything, but I didn't know what I should do, just that I know I should be doing something. A bit of a paradox of choice, if you will. This was coined by psychologist Barry Schwartz. More options makes us more anxious because it means choosing one thing over another. The theory in itself is a paradox, because for me, having choices and not having choices both bring me anxiety. What I needed was the far less paradoxical Schrodinger's cat of both simultaneously having options and not having options. Now, this idea that we need to rush into commitment is relatively new. Historically, commitment wasn't about passion or even compatibility. It was more economical. It was about survival, marriage as a contract, union through alliance. From an anthropological standpoint, pair bonding evolved as a mechanism for cooperative parenting, not really romantic fulfillment. In tribal societies, marriage meant managing resources, raising offspring, protecting each other. Today, we ask our partners to be everything. Best friend, lover, therapist, career coach, spiritual guru. It's no wonder people hesitate. Perel points out that relationships today place unprecedented pressure on one person meeting every emotional and existential need of the other. What entire villages used to provide their members. Now, commitment today is much less about economics or survival. It's meant to be a mirror of sorts, your soulmate reflecting back at you. And that's why the fear of commitment needs some rehab. The problem is we don't distinguish between hesitation that's rooted in wisdom and hesitation that's rooted in fear. One protects you, the other paralyzes you. And unfortunately, culture doesn't help. Romantic comedies wrap up everything in 90 minutes. Swipe apps turn people into commodities. Instagrams celebrate couples who look perfect, but says very little about how they break and rebuild, grow and break through. That's brick to marble. Eroticism and stability live in tension, and yet we're expected to embody both. We ask, make me feel safe and dangerous all at the same time. No wonder we get stuck. No wonder we hesitate. Because commitment today means everything. And that's the fundamental flaw. Is it really fear if you're being careful with your most valuable asset? Your agency? Your independence? Your life? Is waiting actually a defect or just your compass to deeper happiness? You're not afraid to commit. You're afraid to commit carelessly because that has consequences. And that means you understand what commitment truly is. So let's stop calling it fear and let's call it what it really is. Respect. A respect for commitment. Respect for the person you're becoming. Respect for the weight of the decision you're making. Respect for what it means to choose someone with your full self. Respect for the gravity of the commitment. Not just for the gesture, but the reality that follows. Respect for the fact that love sometimes isn't always enough. And if you've already committed to a person, place, thing, or whatever, then double down. Not on the person, place, thing, or whatever, but on honesty. Know where you are and be honest about what that means. If you find that hard, that's okay. That's why we're here. You're not behind. You're building carefully. You're doing it right. Don't be a performance. All right, builders, see you every Sunday. And remember, growth equals waiting with intention before carving certainty into stone. Brick by brick, we'll get there. Valeu!